So, how are you? I'm sitting here, being all positive, COVID-19 positive, leaking out of my nose with a cold sore and a fever. But how are you?
I'm the opposite. I'm actually COVID-free. No, I'm good. I'm in New York. The sun is shining. I'm in my little cubby hole here, which is like DJ deck from one side. And if you can see, you know. This side is my studio. It's like the COVID thing now is like you do everything from home now. So I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Need a bigger house.
Yeah, exactly. We're slowly getting used to that. But as a musician, and which you are as well, of course, which is a big part of who you are, it is good to have this view on the horizon to be able to go outside and play your music again. And now there is this single. And I was listening to it yesterday 5 times in a row. And I was thinking, it sounds, I've found some F words. It sounds fierce. It sounds fearless. It sounds ferocious. It sounds furious, flammable, and fucking fantastic. What is it about?
I mean, you know, it's a political song. I'm not going to lie. That's really obvious. And I think it's just, I'm living here in New York and I'm watching British politics. I'm watching American politics, which is horrendous. Oof. 4 years of Trump, you know, the country's trying to dig itself out of 4 years of Trump and the death of truth. And I think it's just that over the last few years, you know, we've just seen how the policies of greed and the policies of like anti-immigration are really pushing the world into a really dark, dark hole that we haven't seen since the 1930s. And I think that in it being British, watching the whole Brexit debacle happen was really something that hurt my soul. So I think the song just came out of a moment of utter rage. You know, I mean, there's so many times in a day, especially if you're on social media, there's so many times in a day you're just like, what the hell is going on here? I mean, really, are we just turning into the biggest bunch of idiots in every country that we can imagine? As you watch country after country just dive into extreme right-wing politics, you see the rise of Nazism, you see the rise of racism, you see all of that stuff, you know, the rise of this religious right, and the polarization of people's point of views where you're not allowed to say anything about anything anymore, you know? Which is that, you know, which is the point. They don't want people to discuss things. They want people to just believe what they believe and follow them blindly off the cliff. So, I mean, it's all of those things. And hopefully in every country, you know, people can relate to this song, because I don't think it's something specific to the UK. I mean, right now in the UK, we have a bumbling idiot in Boris Johnson and a pathetic Conservative Party who really just don't care. And they're so blatant about it. And I think a lot of British people will just listen to this song and be like, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Yeah,
but you being a traveler and a world citizen, I mean, you visit Italy a lot, you are in New York at the moment, but you're a Brit. You're British. What is your, I mean, you're talking about the UK, obviously, because that's where your roots are. Yeah. And how does it relate to the situation in, let's say, the US, for example, at the moment? What is your view on that? What's the biggest difference?
Well, I think that a lot of the policies that we're seeing around the world come from the Trump era in the United States. I mean, there were a lot of things that he did that really worked. And you've seen other countries and other leaders like Boris Johnson take on some of this ridiculous popularist ideals and see if it works in their country. Yes, it works in Poland now, and yes, it works in Italy now, and yes, it works in France now, and you know, and he's kind of in many ways kind of giving people a bit of a template and a bit of a playbook to, you know, kill off discussion. And the death of truth, I think, is one of the worst things to behold that we have now, where people don't believe anything. You know, you see that with anti-vaccines. People just don't believe anything anymore. You just say, oh yes, the media this and the media that. It's like, no, well, what happened to scientific research? There is none. There's like, people seem to go to the University of Twitter, you know, to get their degree in utter crap, you know. And so
get their
I
degree, their degree in Facebook. Yeah,
yeah, the Facebook degree, people research for 10 years and study for 10 years, and someone says, well, I don't agree because I saw this thing on Facebook. And I think that playbook came from America. I think America is very influential in terms of, they'll look at what happened in Brazil, it's very influential in the rest of the world. And that's, I think, the scariest thing. And seeing what happens here.
Yeah.
See what's happening.
To live there. Yeah.
Well, is there any different living anywhere else?
Do you think these times call for artists to take on the responsibility to write songs like Piggy, to let the protest song have a renaissance?
Do you know, I think that it's up to the individual artists to be creative in the way that they see fit. I really don't believe that it's the job of, you're an artist, you should do this, you should do that. I think that some people are really good at it and some people really aren't. And if you put artists in a situation of like, oh, you've got to say something, you've got to write a political song, when all they've done is written songs about shagging, it's not going to work, So I think, I always think that people should write about songs that move them and what, because the point about music, right? There should be all different types of topics. If everyone all of a sudden just started writing political songs, I wouldn't want to listen to the radio, I think that there should be a myriad of different topics because there's a myriad of different people on the planet and everyone should write what they feel from their heart. But I think that if you do have something to say, if you're opinionated, then, if you put it into a song and it's a great song, because it's going to be a good song, it can't just be a political song and not be a good one, always going to be a great song, then do it, have a go. But I think that musicians and creatives should do what they want to do and be creative at and do it beautifully.
There you go.
And when they feel that rage, which you were talking about towards Piggy, you feel the rage, you write down maybe the lyrics, but how do you translate that to the rest of the band, to the guys? Do they feel the same? Do you have to, after so many years, do you still have to explain things, or how does it work?
I think we all write the songs all together in the same room. So we wrote this together. So I'm writing the lyrics as they're playing the riffs, and then I'm like, okay, give me 10 minutes. I've just got to write the lyrics, and then I sing the lyrics, and they go, yeah, Piggy. And that's how we write songs. We write it all together in the same room, and sometimes I have to go away for a couple of weeks and then come back. But yeah, they definitely are into it and vet the lyrics and stuff like that. And sometimes they help me. What's another word for this? They go. And then I enter the room and they come back with another word. So it's a very kind of communicative, democratic way of writing. And going back to what I was saying about it, is that the most important thing an artist should do is write with authenticity. So if you try and write a political song because you feel you should, that's not authentic. And I think that, that's the heart of being an artist. So yeah, when we write songs, our best songs are when we're all together in the room. And we've tried over the 2 years to write songs remotely. Hasn't worked. We're a rock band, we have to feel it.
So did this song come about when it was possible again to finally meet up?
Actually, this came from a song that we wrote 2 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is not it's a new song because we finished it off in the studio. It's an idea that we had the last time we were in the room writing together. So all the other stuff we wrote was good, but then the best stuff we wrote was still the last writing session we had 2 years ago. Yeah, literally just before COVID.
You've been doing a lot of things over the last few years. You've been writing a book. You've become a knight. But also you've become a mum and a parent.
Yes.
Which is, well, when I became a father for the first time, it was something that really turned my world upside down. How is it for you? And how does it reflect on your career as a musician, for example? What does it do to it?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's. I didn't have the baby, by the way. My partner did, just to smooth out, because the British press seemed to think that she had a baby at 54.
Oh, really?
Yeah, honestly, bunch of wankers. But anyway, I think it's given me an extra kind of kick up the arse and a bit more drive. I think that I've always been driven as an artist, and I've always kind of looked for things that was going to inspire me and make me do different things. And I think having a child gives you an awareness of like, yeah, you know what, I've got to look after this child now, and I have to do all of these other things. And I can't kind of let, you know, I've got all these balls in the air and I don't want any of them to drop now. I think it's given me a lot more inspiration, a lot more drive, and a lot more energy, because, you know, you need to have energy as a child, as a mother. And it's fun, you know, I can hear them outside. I know you can hear them outside squealing and dancing and listening to music. But yeah, it's a fun thing to happen. It's a fun thing to happen at this stage in life as well.
Yeah. When I listen to Piggy, your vocal chords are coming through right through the speakers. It's really, it's ferocious. But then when you go on tour, and hopefully this summer you will be going on tour, you have to be in great shape to perform this kind of work. How do you, I know that you're always working out and doing stuff, but now with broken nights, diapers, stuff like that, probably your world, also that kind of life has changed. How do you keep yourself fit in this COVID times and becoming a mom at the same time?
You know, I literally, and the honest thing is I book a personal trainer. So I booked it and I paid for it, so I have to do it. I mean, I run, I work out, and I sing. It's the only way to really keep it up is to really, really look after myself. You know, I really do look after myself a lot more now. Because yeah, you know, last night I woke up twice in the middle of the night. You know, you get a lot of broken sleep, as all people with families know. And I think it's been even more important to keep myself fit and to train and to do all of that stuff. Yeah, so I'm you know, I work out 4 or 5 times a week. Just starting some new Pilates soon and just looking after myself, really. I had a gym in the house during the whole time of COVID, which was great.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
and now this room, I've got, you know, DJ decks here, I've got a studio here, I've got my Photoshop studio, and in the corner I have all my weights and all my stuff for, because I also work out in here as well, over Zoom with my trainer. But it's,
you hear that, Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. There's no. If I want to not be on tour and just be like huffing and puffing around the stage, and I have to do all that stuff.
With Piggy as a new song, can we expect maybe in the form of a new album? Is there more up your sleeve?
Yes, there is. There's more singles. And yeah, we are heading towards a new album. I think that the album, we might just do brand new songs though, because I think that we're in this transitional period where we had the same manager for 30 years. Yeah. And she retired at the end of last year. So there's like a lot of reconfiguring, a lot of taking stock and looking at things in a different way. And so at the moment we're just releasing singles. I'm in charge of the art direction, so I did the cover for Piggy. And Mark did the video, the lyric video. We're kind of doing everything in a much more hands-on DIY way because it's fun. You know? Yeah,
and it's back to square one.
It's back to square one. Yeah, it's back to square one. But you know, the thing is, we've been doing it for a long time, so we've done a lot of videos and we've done a lot of artwork, and so it's kind of just more that, but more intensely. And that's how we started, and that's how we've been for the whole. We shot our videos, and I always write the whole video scripts, and I've done a lot of artwork. Ace is a graphic designer anyway. I'm an ex-designer, and we have a lot of skills. We've got 2 photographers in the band, you know. So we've just been using a lot of our skills because obviously during COVID we earned no money. So the start of this, we have like no money in the bank. So Skunk Anansie, we pay ourselves wages, but we can't afford this at this moment to be outsourcing things and to be like, you know, paying for like lots of expensive stuff, because
that's a thing that is, it's good for you to say that, because I think a lot of people, you know, we know a lot of bands, a lot of small, just starting new Dutch bands not making money, not being able to play, and therefore not making money. I mean, the making of the money is not the goal. It is, I mean, people want to make music, and therefrom they make
Yeah,
money.
but money can be
even for,
quite handy when you have to buy some bread
of
or
course,
something like that.
of course, but especially for, I mean, people have this misconception that bands like yours must be loaded, and that COVID or a situation like this is not actually it's not of any influence to a band like yours. But that is not true.
It's not the case. I mean, basically, we go on tour, we make a lot of money, and then we have to use that money to make the next album, because we are our own record label and we're our own brand.
Yeah.
So we license things to record companies. We don't you know, just sign huge record deals. And, you know, we're a rock band, you know, we're not a pop band, you know, we don't do loads of sponsorships and all that kind of stuff. So we run ourselves. So we go on tour, we make the money, and then we pay ourselves wages over the 2 or 3 years before we've got to tour. And we also use that money to pay all of our staff and to make the next album, you know? So, you know, which is why we also do lots of other things as well. So when we don't tour, and we don't have any way of making any money for a couple of years, 2.5 years, you know, then, you know, all that goes on wages, and you start off your next tour with zero money in the banks, you know.
Back to square one again.
Back to square one again, and that's how it's always been. So, I mean, Skunk Anansie aren't, we're a big band, yeah, but we're not, you know, Foo Fighters, you know. We're a big European band, which is a hell of a lot less money than if you're a big American band, and that's a whole different thing, you know. And so, but, you know, I think for me, one of the successes Skunk Anansie has is that we've been able to mainly do music as a career and make enough money so we can do music as a career for our whole career. You know, it's been a long time, 27 years, that we've been able to have this as our number one thing that we do. And that's a real privilege. And that's a success, really, is that we can...
27 years.
Yeah, the successful
amazing.
part is that we can keep going, we can do this. But yeah, no, we don't have like loads of money buying like posh cars and that kind of stuff.
Even more reason to look forward to the tour, right?
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's gonna pay for everything.
There's a tour coming up this summer, is it? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it starts in February, March, you know, depending on COVID.
Spring even, yes. So thank you very much for this conversation, Skin. And I hope to see you when you are back in Europe and start touring Europe. Obviously, you'll start in the UK, but then just hop the canal and visit Holland.
Yeah, we're definitely coming to Holland. It's going to be, we always love playing gigs in Holland. It's always a great crowd.
Okay, food and drinks are on us when you're there.
Excellent.